Before we start, just a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. Only 2% are subscribers. At 1,000 subscribers, I'll be posting a special video. In the grand echoing chamber of the Galactic Council's central hall, the atmosphere was thick with tension. The vast circular room, filled with representatives from hundreds of civilizations, was usually a place of diplomatic debate and mutual agreement. Today, however, it was the scene of urgent, hushed conversations as the various species shared their concerns over the looming threat of the Quran, a warrior race whose brutality and rapid conquests had become the stuff of dark legend across the stars. The Quran, towering beings clad in black armor that gleamed with a menacing sheen, had conquered dozens of planets in the outer rim, leaving ravaged worlds and broken civilizations in their wake. Their technology was not particularly advanced compared to the Council's members, but their ferocity and sheer physical prowess made them dreaded adversaries. As more systems fell, the Council had no choice but to summon its members to discuss a galaxy-wide response. Amidst this gathering of worried alien diplomats and military leaders, the human delegation appeared strikingly composed. Humans were relatively new to the Galactic Council, having been part of the interstellar community for just over a century. Yet, in that short time, they had gained a reputation for being both audacious and resourceful, a combination that intrigued and sometimes irked the older, more established members. As the session commenced, the president of the council, a wise and ancient being from the planet Gliese, addressed the assembly. "We are here to address the existential threat posed by the Quran. Each of you has seen the reports. Their path towards the core world seems unstoppable. We must unite or we shall fall divided." One after another, representatives spoke of their fears and proposed various measures, from fortifying borders to forming an unprecedented unified military front. Strategies varied, but the underlying current of fear was palpable. When it was the human delegation's turn to speak, the hall quieted, curious to hear what the newcomers had to say. The human representative, Ambassador Lena Marquez, stood. She was a middle-aged woman whose demeanor combined an unassuming appearance with an unmistakable air of confidence. "We recognize the threat posed by the Quran, and we share your concerns," she began, her voice calm and clear. "However, we believe that understanding this warrior race might be key to developing an effective strategy against them." Murmurs filled the hall. Understanding. This was not the expected response, certainly not from a species as militarily capable yet untested in galactic wars as humans. "We propose a dual approach," Lena continued. "While we prepare for the possibility of conflict, we also seek to engage with the Quran. We need to comprehend their motives, their culture, and what drives their conquest. Perhaps there are alternatives to war." This suggestion sparked an uproar. Engage with the Quran. The very idea seemed ludicrous to many, dangerous to others. Yet some council members, weary of endless battles, began to listen intently, intrigued by the potential of a non-military solution. As the debate raged on, it became clear that the human proposal was gaining attention, if not outright approval. The council decided to allow Earth to proceed with its plan under the condition that preparations for a defensive war effort would continue simultaneously. As the meeting adjourned, the human delegation gathered to discuss the next steps. They had a clear mandate, but also knew the risks involved. Engaging with a race known primarily for its warrior ethos would not be easy, nor was it guaranteed to succeed. Yet humanity's history was replete with instances where they had turned potential foes into allies through diplomacy and understanding. It was a long shot, but perhaps in this case, history could repeat itself. Outside the council chambers, stars twinkled peacefully in the void, a stark contrast to the storm brewing across the galaxy. The humans were stepping onto a path that could lead to unprecedented peace or catastrophic failure. But for now they moved forward, driven by a mixture of hope, strategy, and an unyielding curiosity about the universe and its many inhabitants. The planet Viridia was a lush, vibrant world on the edge of human-controlled space, a gateway to the outer regions and a first line of defense should any threats emerge from the less charted territories. Its atmosphere was one of bustling activity with trade posts, research facilities, and defense installations dotting its surface. However, today's activity was unlike any other. News had spread that the first Quran warship had been spotted near Viridian space, a grim herald of the potential chaos to come. On Viridia's largest moon, a human outpost served as both a military garrison and diplomatic hub. Commander Sarah Chen, the outpost leader, had been briefed about the possible encounter hours before. She was known among her peers for her unflappable demeanor and tactical ingenuity, traits that would soon be tested. As the alien warship approached, instead of mobilizing her fleet for an immediate defensive strike, Commander Chen ordered her forces to stand down. "Let's not greet our guests with guns blazing," she told her crew. "We'll show them that we're open to talk first." The decision was risky, unconventional, and exactly in line with Earth's directive to attempt peaceful engagement. The Quran ship, a massive structure of dark metal and angular lines, hovered menacingly over the outpost. It was silent for several long moments, a giant observing a much smaller creature, deciding its next move. Finally, a communication line was opened, and the Quran's voice, rough and guttural, filled the command center. "This is Warlord Kraxis of the Quran. We have come to claim this territory in the name of our people. Stand down and surrender, or face obliteration." Sarah responded calmly, projecting her voice to sound as commanding as possible. "Warlord Kraxis, I am Commander Sarah Chen of the Human Defense Force. We recognize your might, but we seek a dialogue rather than conflict. We invite you to discuss terms peacefully." There was a pause, the silence almost as tense as the spoken threats. Then, surprisingly, the Quran agreed. "We will send a delegation to your outpost. Prepare to receive us." The next few hours were a flurry of activity. Sarah briefed her team, emphasizing the importance of this meeting. "This isn't just about our outpost or even Viridia," she explained. "How we handle this could set the tone for interactions between humans and the Quran moving forward. We need to make this work." When the Quran delegation arrived, they were as imposing as their reputation suggested. Tall, powerfully built, their faces hidden behind fearsome masks. Yet they walked into the conference room without weapons, a gesture of truce that did not go unnoticed. The negotiations were tense. Kraxis was direct and authoritative, his voice a deep rumble that seemed to resonate with the very walls of the outpost. However, as Sarah and her team presented their case, emphasizing mutual benefits of peace, potential trade agreements, and cultural exchanges, there was a perceptible shift in the atmosphere. The Quran, initially dismissive, began to listen, their posture subtly easing as the humans detailed their proposals. As the meeting concluded, Warlord Kraxis stood. "Your words have merit, Commander Chen. We will consider your proposals." It wasn't a commitment to peace, but it was far from the outright declaration of war they had feared. After the Quran left, Sarah exhaled deeply, allowing herself a moment of relief. The outpost remained on high alert, but the successful interaction offered a glimmer of hope. Perhaps, through patience and perseverance, humanity could turn even the fiercest warriors into allies, or at least into something other than enemies. In the depth of space, the stars bore silent witness to this small, fragile beginning of dialogue, a beacon of possibility in the vast, dark universe. Back on Earth, the situation was being monitored with a mix of apprehension and hope. In the Strategic Operations Center, a room lined with glowing screens and bustling with activity, senior military officials and diplomats gathered to assess the unfolding events on Viridia and plan their next moves. The planet had become a crucial test case for humanity's unprecedented strategy of engagement with the Quran. General Marcus Dalton, the head of Earth's defense forces, was a seasoned leader whose career had been defined by his ability to navigate crises. He stood at the front of the room, looking over the assembled team of experts. "The initial reports from Commander Chen are promising," he began. "The Quran have shown an unexpected willingness to engage in dialogue. This is our opportunity to redefine interstellar relations. Our approach must be twofold: continue to prepare for the worst, while hoping and working for the best." Beside him, Dr. Emily Tan, Earth's chief diplomat in extraterrestrial relations, nodded in agreement. "Our engagement strategy isn't just about avoiding war," she added. "It's about understanding the Quran on a deeper level, discovering what drives them, what they value, and how we can coexist peacefully in this galaxy." The room filled with the murmur of agreement and the clacking of keyboards as plans were made. Teams were assigned to various tasks. intelligence gathering, military readiness, diplomatic channels, and cultural research. The latter was particularly unique to humanity's approach. Anthropologists, linguists, and historians began compiling data on the Quran, sifting through every encounter, every piece of information they had acquired about their culture, their language, and their society. One of the more intriguing initiatives was the proposed Cultural Insight Project, led by Dr. Tan. If we're to engage with the Quran effectively, we need to reach out not just militarily, but culturally, she explained. We need to set up exchanges, perhaps even joint educational programs. Let's show them who we are, and in turn, learn who they are beyond the battlefield. Meanwhile, defense preparations continued unabated. General Dalton oversaw a series of simulations and war games designed to prepare Earth's forces for any potential conflict. The simulations ranged from defensive maneuvers to complex counter-offensive strategies, ensuring that Earth could protect itself and its interests if diplomacy failed. As the Earth continued its rotations and the Moon traced its silent arc, something remarkable happened in the halls of power and research facilities. A palpable shift in strategy and philosophy was taking root. For the first time in human history, a potential interstellar conflict might be averted, not by superior firepower or strategic dominance, but by mutual understanding and cultural exchange. The news from Viridia served as a beacon of hope. The meeting with the Quran had not only avoided immediate conflict, but had opened doors that many had thought permanently closed. Videos of the meeting, showing the human delegation extending a hand of friendship to their formidable counterparts, were broadcast across Earth, receiving a mixed reaction of cautious optimism and skeptical concern. As the Earth spun silently in space, surrounded by a universe of untold mysteries and potential threats, its inhabitants looked to the stars with a new perspective. The challenge was immense, but so were the possibilities. The coming days would test the very essence of humanity's place in the cosmos, not just as warriors or survivors, but as pioneers of a bold paradigm of interstellar diplomacy. The Quran's siege of Mars was sudden, a stark reminder of the precarious balance between diplomacy and the readiness for conflict. Despite the ongoing dialogues, a faction within the Quran, unconvinced by human overtures and impatient with their leader's hesitation, decided to take matters into their own hands. Their target was Mars, a strategic human outpost bustling with colonists and serving as a vital link in Earth's interplanetary defenses. As the first alarms wailed through the Martian bases, the red planet's dusty horizon was blotted out by the dark silhouettes of Quran warships descending from the sky. Panic initially gripped the settlers and military personnel alike. However, the humans of Mars were not unprepared. The months of tension had led to meticulous preparations, and Commander Lisa Guerrero, in charge of Mars's defenses, was a formidable strategist, renowned for her calm in the face of adversity. "Positions, everyone. This is not a drill. Engage defense protocols Delta and Epsilon," Guerrero commanded over the base's intercom. The Martian defense installations, which included missile silos, laser turrets, and a network of underground bunkers, sprung to life. The skies above Mars erupted in flashes of light as human forces engaged the Quran invaders. Meanwhile, the civilian population was quickly moved to safety, demonstrating the effectiveness of the emergency drills that had become a regular part of life since the Quran threat had first emerged. Above ground, the battle intensified. Human pilots in their agile fighter crafts darted through the Martian skies, weaving between the larger Quran ships and exploiting their speed and maneuverability to land critical hits. On the ground, troops clad in powered armor faced off against Quran warriors. The Quran were physically superior, their towering forms and natural armor making them daunting opponents. However, the humans' tactical training and advanced weaponry leveled the playing field, allowing them to hold their positions and even push back against the alien invaders. As the battle raged, an unexpected advantage emerged for the humans. The Martian environment, which the humans had adapted to over generations, proved challenging for the Quran. Their bulk and equipment were not suited to the lower gravity and thinner atmosphere, slowing their movements and complicating their supply lines. Commander Guerrero seized the moment. She coordinated a series of counterattacks, using the terrain to her advantage. Guerrilla tactics, hit-and-run maneuvers, and the strategic use of environmental hazards disrupted the Quran's advance, sapping their morale. Back on Earth, the news of the engagement was met with a mix of shock and resolve. General Dalton immediately convened a crisis meeting, reinforcing the need to support Mars while maintaining the diplomatic efforts. "We must show the Quran that aggression will meet resistance, but also that our hand remains extended in peace," he stated, a dual approach that reflected humanity's complex strategy towards the alien threat. The battle for Mars ended, with the Quran retreating, having underestimated the resilience and strategic capabilities of the human forces. The victory was celebrated, but it was tempered by the realization that this might only be the beginning of a larger conflict. Despite the victory, the mood among the Martian colonists and soldiers was somber. They had defended their home, but at a cost. Lives had been lost, and the scars of battle would linger both on the landscape and in the hearts of those who called Mars home. Commander Guerrero, while proud of her troops, knew this battle was a reminder of the fragile state of human security in the cosmos and the unpredictable nature of their new enemy. In the aftermath, while repair crews worked on damaged infrastructure and medics tended to the wounded, the broader implications were clear. This conflict had entered a new phase, and humanity needed to be ready for what came next. As news of the Quran siege on Mars traveled across the solar system, it sparked a groundswell of emotion on Earth and its colonies. While the victory was a testament to human bravery and tactical acumen, the reality of the alien threat ignited a newfound resolve among the people of Earth. The streets of major cities on Earth swelled with support rallies, fundraising events for Martian relief efforts, and public displays of solidarity. In the media, vivid footage of the Martian skies lit with the fire of battle, and stories of heroism from the front lines were broadcast continuously. These narratives not only informed the public, but also served to rally support for the Martian colonists and the troops who had defended them. Social media platforms were abuzz with campaigns promoting support for Mars, and digital networks were filled with messages of encouragement and unity. Amid this fervor, the human government took decisive action. The President of the United Earth Government, Sophia Mwangi, addressed the world in a widely viewed broadcast. Standing against the backdrop of the United Nations Space Command Center, she delivered a speech that would be remembered as a defining moment in human history. "My fellow citizens," she began, her voice firm and inspiring, "today we stand united, not just as a nation, not just as a planet, but as a species. The attack on our brothers and sisters on Mars is a stark reminder of the challenges we face in the galaxy, but let it also be a reminder of our strength when we stand together." President Mwangi announced a series of measures to strengthen Earth's defenses and aid Mars in its recovery. These included increased funding for military and civilian space programs, the establishment of a new planetary defense coalition, and enhanced support for scientific research aimed at understanding and peacefully engaging with alien species, including the Quran. Furthermore, she called for unity and resilience. "Let us channel our energies not towards fear and retaliation, but towards fortification and understanding. We must prepare to defend ourselves, yes, but we must also continue our efforts to reach out, to communicate, and to find a path to coexistence." This speech not only galvanized public opinion, but also set the stage for a strategic shift in human policy towards the Quran. While military readiness was prioritized, the importance of diplomacy remained at the forefront. Committees were formed to explore non-violent solutions, and a special task force was set up to analyze the Quran's culture and motivations more deeply. In the academic and scientific communities, the events led to a surge in interest in xenology, the study of alien cultures. Universities and research institutions received grants to study the Quran and other alien species, with the goal of finding keys to peaceful interaction. Scholarly debates and public lectures on the subject drew large crowds, reflecting a societal push towards understanding the broader universe. Even in this charged atmosphere, stories of human bravery began to seep into the broader galactic consciousness. Tales of the Martian defense circulated among the Quran themselves, carried by those who had survived the encounter. These stories, marked by respect for the human's fighting spirit and tactical ingenuity, began to foster a grudging admiration among some Quran warriors. This shift was subtle but significant, planting seeds of respect where there had once been only disdain. As these stories spread, they started to reshape the narrative of the human-Quran interaction, suggesting that perhaps there was more to the humans than the Quran had initially believed. This narrative change, though still in its infancy, hinted at the potential for a different kind of relationship between the two races, based not only on power and fear, but also on mutual respect, and perhaps eventually on understanding. On a prisoner transport ship bound for Earth, Tharkel, a captured Quran warrior, wrestled with his chains and his thoughts. Taken during the Martian conflict, he had seen firsthand the humans' unexpected tenacity and strategic prowess. Now, as a captive, he was to be a part of a human initiative to foster understanding between the two races, a notion both intriguing and repugnant to him. Tharkel's arrival on Earth was met with high security, yet there was a conspicuous absence of hostility. Instead of a military prison, he was taken to a secure but comfortable facility designed to house interstellar guests. The environment was unlike any detention he had expected. There were books, screens with access to human culture, and even a small garden area replicating Earth's flora. In the following days, Tharkel was approached not only by military strategists and diplomats, but also by scholars interested in Quran culture. Dr. Helen Zhao, a leading anthropologist specializing in extraterrestrial societies, led the initiative. She approached Tharkel with a mixture of caution and profound respect, aware of his status as a warrior, but eager to bridge the gap between their worlds. "Warlord Tharkel, we do not wish to diminish your honor or the seriousness of our situation," Dr. Zhao began during their first meeting. "We hope to learn from you about your people, your customs, your aspirations, and in return we offer our knowledge and culture." Tharkel, initially resistant, found himself intrigued by Dr. Zhao's approach. The humans were offering him a voice, not treating him merely as a trophy of war, but as a source of wisdom about his people. This was a stark contrast to the tales of human savagery he had been told. As days turned into weeks, Tharkel began to engage more openly. He shared stories of the Quran, tales of valor, of community, of the deep-seated beliefs that drove their conquests. He learned about Earth's history, its wars, its peace, and its relentless pursuit of understanding and innovation. Through these exchanges, Tharkel's view of humans evolved from seeing them as mere adversaries to recognizing them as complex beings with a culture as rich and varied as that of the Quran. Meanwhile, on Earth, the story of Tharkel, the Quran warrior who was learning and sharing, was being told. Media outlets covered his stay, and public interest in his story grew. People were fascinated by the idea of a fierce warrior finding common ground with humans. This narrative shift played a pivotal role in softening public perception about the Quran, paving the way for a broader discussion about peace and coexistence. In one particularly poignant session, Tharkel was introduced to Earth's art and music. He was deeply moved by a live performance of Beethoven's Symphony No. 9, the Ode to Joy, a melody that spoke of universal brotherhood and peace. This experience, he confessed to Dr. Zhao, was transformative. "I begin to see that not all battles are fought on the fields of war," Tharkel remarked one evening as they watched the sunset from the facility's garden. "Some are fought in the heart and in the mind." Dr. Zhao nodded, realizing the importance of this moment, not just for Tharkel, but for the potential future of human-Quran relations. "Perhaps, Warlord, this is the beginning of a new chapter for both our peoples." Tharkel's journey from warrior to ambassador was not without its challenges, but his evolving perspective represented a beacon of hope. His experiences and the stories he would eventually tell upon his return to his people could lay the groundwork for a new era of understanding and, hopefully, peace between the Quran and humanity. Tharkel's return to Quran space was met with a mixture of suspicion and curiosity. As he disembarked from the transport that had brought him back from Earth, he was greeted by a cadre of his fellow warriors, all of whom viewed him with wary eyes. The notion that their once captured comrade had been corrupted or softened by his time among humans was a prevalent whisper among the ranks. However, Tharkel returned not as a subdued prisoner, but as a Quran transformed by experience. He carried himself with the same martial dignity as before, yet there was an added depth to his gaze, a reflection of new perspectives gained from his extraordinary journey. As he was debriefed by the Quran High Command, he spoke not only of human military capabilities, which were to be expected in such reports, but also of their culture, their resilience, and their profound commitment to understanding others. To the High Command, this was initially baffling. "You speak of our enemies as if they are potential allies, Tharkel. This is unusual," remarked the High Warlord, his tone a mix of intrigue and skepticism. Tharkel's response was measured but firm. "They could indeed be our allies, or at least they are not the monsters we have imagined them to be. They fight fiercely to protect their own, much like we do. Yet they also extend a hand in peace, which is something we have not yet tried." Word of Tharkel's experiences and his reflections spread among the Quran people. Through official channels and informal gatherings, tales of his interactions with humans, ranging from his academic discussions with Dr. Zhao to his emotional reaction to human music, circulated with increasing interest. This narrative began to challenge the long-standing perception of humans merely as foes. Curiosity grew, especially among the younger warriors and the general populace, who were less entrenched in the old ways of thinking. They began to question the perpetual cycle of conquest and conflict, pondering whether there might be another path, one of diplomacy and mutual growth. In this atmosphere of burgeoning curiosity, Tharkel proposed a bold initiative, a reciprocal cultural exchange. Just as he had learned from humans, he suggested that both Quran and humans could benefit from shared knowledge and experiences. After much debate, the High Command, intrigued by the potential strategic benefits of understanding human culture more deeply, reluctantly agreed to a trial exchange. The first group of humans to visit Quran space was a carefully selected team of diplomats, scholars, and artists. They arrived under heavy escort, prepared for a range of receptions, from hostility to curiosity. To the surprise of many, they were met with cautious hospitality. The Quran were imposing hosts, their fierce appearances belied by the earnestness with which they engaged with their guests. Seminars, demonstrations of Quran martial practices, and human cultural presentations became the arenas for this new contact. The humans, for their part, shared insights into Earth's diverse cultures, artistic expressions, and technological achievements. They even organized a concert similar to the one that had moved Tharkel, featuring music from various human traditions. As these exchanges unfolded, they were broadcast and discussed widely among both populations. On Earth, people watched in fascination as their representatives walked among the Quran, learning and sharing. On Quran worlds, the public's interest grew as they were introduced to concepts and experiences that were entirely new to them. The shift was gradual but undeniable. Skepticism remained, and the road ahead was fraught with challenges. Yet as both Quran and humans began to see each other not just as warriors or potential threats, but as beings with their own histories, dreams, and capacities for kindness, the seeds of a profound change were sown. The possibility of a peaceful coexistence, once a distant dream, started to take on the contours of a tangible reality. The initiative for peaceful engagement through cultural and educational exchanges began to gain momentum as more encounters between humans and the Quran unfolded. The once sporadic and cautious interactions evolved into structured programs, and what had started as a high-stakes diplomatic gamble gradually transformed into a series of vibrant, cross-cultural dialogues. The results were unexpectedly fruitful, leading to a deeper understanding and slowly softening the long-standing tensions. On one of the neutral space stations, refurbished to serve as an interstellar cultural hub, a grand event was organized, the first Galactic Cultural Festival. The event was designed to showcase the arts, sciences, and traditions of various races, with a significant focus on human and Quran contributions. The festival was a bold step forward, a public display meant to cement the growing relationship between the two races in the eyes of the galaxy. The station buzzed with activity as species from various parts of the galaxy arrived to witness this historic event. Among the attractions were exhibitions of human technological advances, including virtual reality experiences that allowed visitors to explore Earth's diverse ecosystems and historical epochs. Quran warriors demonstrated their combat skills in non-lethal displays, emphasizing the artistry and discipline behind their martial traditions. Additionally, collaborative workshops on topics ranging from astrophysics to diplomacy were held, drawing crowds of eager participants from dozens of species. A particularly popular event was the joint culinary booth, where Quran and human chefs worked side by side to prepare dishes that blended ingredients and techniques from both worlds. This not only tantalized taste buds, but also served as a metaphor for the potential harmony between the two cultures. The shared meals became a space of informal diplomacy, with conversations flowing as freely as the exotic beverages. Amid these public events, quieter, more profound interactions took place. Human delegates visited Quran homes aboard the station, participating in their daily rituals and learning about their family structures and social norms. Similarly, Quran delegates attended human cultural ceremonies, finding themselves moved by weddings, funerals, and celebrations that highlighted the human capacity for emotion and community. The festival also featured a series of talks and debates on the future of interstellar relations, where Tharkel, now something of a celebrity advocate for interspecies understanding, took center stage. He spoke about his time on Earth, the transformative power of understanding, and the potential for a new era in Quran-human relations. His speeches, broadcast across multiple channels, reached millions, touching hearts and changing minds across galaxies. The high point of the festival was the unveiling of a new art installation, a massive sculpture created collaboratively by human and Quran artists. The sculpture depicted a circle of figures, both human and Quran, holding hands and looking outward into the universe. It symbolized unity and mutual protection, themes that resonated deeply with attendees. As the festival concluded, it was clear that something significant had shifted in the intergalactic community. The success of the event had not only demonstrated the possibility of peaceful coexistence, but had also highlighted the mutual benefits of such an approach. Relationships were forged not just between governments, but among people, a network of connections that would form the foundation for future cooperation. The impact of these cultural exchanges extended beyond immediate diplomatic successes. They spurred a movement within younger generations of both Quran and humans, a growing group who saw themselves as citizens of the galaxy first, bound by shared interests and common challenges. This new generation was less interested in old grievances and more focused on collaborative solutions, setting the stage for a lasting peace that could, in time, transform the galaxy. As the cultural exchange programs flourished, the respect between individual Quran and humans solidified, fostering a groundswell of goodwill that began to permeate through various levels of both societies. This transformation was not limited to the echelons of diplomacy and leadership, but reached deep into the civilian populations, where the true test of the initiative's success lay. The Quran, traditionally seen as a warrior race, began to embrace aspects of human creativity and expression that were previously foreign to them. Schools on Quran planets introduced human literature and music into their curricula, while human schools reciprocated by incorporating Quran, martial arts, and philosophy into their physical education and ethics classes. These educational exchanges not only broadened young minds, but also normalized the presence of the other race in daily life, making the concept of a former enemy now a partner in growth. The shift was palpable even in the Galactic Council, where once skeptical members observed the burgeoning alliance with interest. Inspired by the human Quran model, several other species proposed similar programs, hoping to replicate its success to resolve their own interstellar disputes. The Council, once a place of tense negotiations and rigid diplomacy, began to transform into a more vibrant and cooperative assembly, discussing initiatives that focused on cultural appreciation as a foundation for political alliances. In the spirit of fostering deeper connections, the human and Quran militaries initiated joint training exercises aimed at building trust and enhancing interoperability. These were not without their challenges. The differences in physiology, tactics, and technology presented initial obstacles. However, as the sessions continued, both sides adapted and learned. Human flexibility and tactical innovation met Quran's strength and endurance on the training grounds, creating a formidable combined force. The exercises, broadcast on both Quran and human networks, were met with enthusiasm and pride by citizens, further cementing the idea of unity. Amidst these grand societal shifts, personal stories of friendship and camaraderie emerged. One such story was that of Captain Elena Mirov, a human pilot, and Commander Razak, a Quran flight leader. During a joint naval exercise, a malfunction in Captain Mirov's fighter jet led to a potentially fatal situation. Razak, defying traditional Quran protocol, risked his own ship to execute a daring rescue. The incident, widely publicized, became a symbol of the new era of interspecies loyalty and bravery. It sparked a wave of popular films, books, and shows that depicted the human-Quran alliance in genres ranging from thrilling space operas to heartfelt dramas. Moreover, the economic impact of human-Quran cooperation began to manifest. Joint ventures in technology and exploration opened up new markets and resources, leading to a boom in sectors like space travel, construction, and biotechnology. Innovations, driven by the blending of human creativity and Quran precision, led to breakthroughs such as advanced space habitat designs and more efficient energy systems. As these initiatives took root, the galaxy watched in awe. The transformation of the Quran from feared conquerors to valued allies became a testament to the power of cultural diplomacy and mutual respect. The heart of the warrior race had not been weakened, but broadened, embracing new ideals that included peace and partnership as forms of strength. This period of transformation culminated in the celebration of the Anniversary of Peace, a gala event held on the neutral space station where the first cultural festival had taken place. Leaders from both races spoke passionately about the journey from suspicion to partnership. The event was capped with the signing of the Treaty of Shared Stars, a formal agreement that not only solidified peace but also committed both races to ongoing cooperation in defense, science, and cultural exchange. The galaxy had indeed changed. The narrative of humanity and the Quran, once potential enemies, now spoke of a united front facing the future together. This new chapter was not merely about avoiding war, but about how two very different peoples could find common ground, and in doing so, lead the way for others to follow. The burgeoning alliance between humans and the Quran began to influence broader galactic politics in profound ways. The shift from a stance of mutual hostility to one of cooperation had started to stabilize regions of space that had long been mired in conflict and uncertainty. However, as the two races moved closer, internal divisions within the Quran society began to surface, threatening the fragile peace they had worked so hard to build. The Quran were a complex society, traditionally governed by a council of warlords who valued strength and conquest. The rapid cultural and diplomatic changes initiated by the human interactions were not universally welcomed. A faction within the Quran, led by a formidable warlord named Kravax, began to voice opposition. Kravax and his followers saw the alliance with humans as a dilution of the Quran's warrior spirit, fearing that their race was abandoning its heritage in favor of a foreign philosophy. This internal strife reached a tipping point during a crucial meeting of the Quran High Command. The chamber, usually filled with unified calls for expansion and dominance, was now a ground for heated debates about the future direction of their civilization. Kravax stood tall, his voice echoing through the hall. "We are warriors. Our ancestors conquered stars. Are we now to be mere friends with those who were once our prey? This is not the Quran way." In response, Tharkel, who had become an influential advocate for peace, argued passionately for a new vision for the Quran. "Strength is not only found in conquest," he countered. "True strength comes from understanding our place in the galaxy and securing our future through alliances and growth beyond warfare. We have much to gain from our friends, the humans, and much to offer them in return." The debates raged on, spilling over from the council chambers into public forums and the media. The Quran populace was deeply divided, with some calling for a return to their traditional ways, while others embraced the potential of a new, more peaceful path. Amidst these tensions, the humans remained steadfast allies. Earth's leaders increased diplomatic efforts, and human ambassadors worked tirelessly to mediate discussions within the Quran community. Educational exchanges intensified, with more Quran youth visiting Earth to experience human culture firsthand, and vice versa. These programs were designed not just to build bridges, but to show the benefits of the alliance in tangible ways, such as technological advancements and joint security measures that protected Quran and human worlds alike. The situation reached a climax at the Galactic Council, where Earth and the Quran jointly proposed the creation of an interstellar peacekeeping force. This force would not only serve their interests, but also help maintain stability across troubled regions of the galaxy. The proposal was seen as a litmus test for the future of Quran-human relations and the broader acceptance of their alliance. After intense negotiations and with considerable diplomatic effort from all sides, the proposal was accepted. The establishment of the peacekeeping force was a victory for those advocating for continued cooperation. It was a clear sign that the benefits of the alliance were tangible and that the partnership had the potential to reshape the galactic landscape. Kravax, seeing the tide turning, realized that his position was becoming untenable. In a surprising turn, he requested a private meeting with Tharkel and the human ambassadors. There, instead of the expected confrontation, Kravax expressed his concerns about preserving Quran culture and identity amidst so many changes. The meeting ended with a pledge to establish cultural preservation programs, ensuring that the Quran's heritage would be honored and remembered even as they adapted to new ways. The resolution of this internal conflict marked a significant milestone. The Quran had confronted and overcome one of the biggest challenges to their unity, the fear of losing their identity. With renewed confidence, both Quran and humans looked to the future, recognizing that their journey together was not just beneficial, but essential for a lasting peace across the stars. The alliance had not only prevented war, but had also begun to heal the scars left by past conflicts, paving the way for a future where both races could thrive. The evolving alliance between humanity and the Quran, now tested by internal conflict and solidified through mutual success, began to take on a more formal and expansive role. The creation of the Interstellar Peacekeeping Force marked a pivotal moment in their collaboration, heralding a new era of galactic stability. As both races worked together to uphold peace, they found new grounds for cooperation that extended beyond mere diplomacy and military alliances. Recognizing the potential for a broader partnership, leaders from both races convened to draft the framework of galactic cooperation. This treaty was ambitious, aiming to establish a coalition that would not only serve their mutual interests, but also set a precedent for other civilizations within the galaxy. The treaty proposed shared governance over disputed territories, joint exploration missions to uncharted regions, and collaborative scientific and cultural endeavors. As part of this effort, the first joint exploratory fleet was launched, a symbol of their commitment to a shared future. The fleet, composed of both human and Quran ships, was tasked with mapping the outer reaches, a largely unexplored sector known for its volatile stellar phenomena and potential for rich mineral deposits. The mission was dual-purposed, to seek out new resources and to act as a mobile diplomatic envoy to distant civilizations they might encounter. Back on the diplomatic front, the impact of the alliance began to reshape interstellar politics. Other species, observing the benefits reaped by the Quran and humans from their cooperation, started to consider similar alliances. The Galactic Council saw a rise in proposals for interspecies initiatives, ranging from environmental conservation efforts to defense pacts against common threats. The Human-Quran alliance had not only averted war, but had sparked a movement towards a more integrated and cooperative galactic community. Meanwhile, on a more personal level, the exchanges between the two races continued to deepen bonds. Cultural festivals became regular events, celebrated on both human and Quran worlds. These festivals showcased a blend of traditions and innovations from both cultures, creating a vibrant tapestry of shared heritage. Educational programs expanded, with universities offering joint courses and degrees that prepared students for careers that would span the galaxy. The popularity of these programs testified to a growing cultural and professional integration that was knitting the societies closer together. One of the most significant outcomes of the treaty was the establishment of the Intergalactic Cultural Heritage Sites, a project that aimed to preserve and celebrate the histories and cultures of all member species. Sites significant to both human and Quran history were designated as protected zones, open to all for education and reflection. This initiative not only cemented the Alliance's commitment to mutual respect and understanding, but also served as a model for other civilizations within the Council. As these projects unfolded, the once feared Quran warriors began to be seen in a new light. They were now partners in peace, valued members of a community striving towards a common goal. The transformation was celebrated during the annual Day of Reflection, a new holiday commemorated on both Earth and Quran planets, dedicated to remembering the past struggles and celebrating the achievements of their united efforts. The alliance between humans and the Quran had become a cornerstone of galactic stability and progress. Their joint endeavors, from defense to diplomacy and cultural exchanges, had not only reshaped their own futures, but had also set a standard for others in the galaxy. As they stood together, looking outwards to the stars, they did so not as two separate races, but as allies sharing a common destiny, demonstrating the incredible power of unity and the boundless possibilities it brought with it. The consolidation of peace between humanity and the Quran had become a model of interstellar diplomacy and cooperation, inspiring numerous other civilizations to seek similar paths. To commemorate and further solidify this monumental achievement, Earth and the Quran leadership decided to co-host the first ever interstellar summit of peace and cooperation. The event was set to take place on Earth, symbolizing the planet's central role in fostering the alliance and serving as a beacon of unity and hope for the galaxy. The summit was held in Geneva, a city historically known for its role in international diplomacy and peace. The venue was the newly constructed Interstellar Congress Center, an architectural marvel designed to accommodate various environmental requirements for different species, reflecting the inclusive spirit of the summit. Delegates from across the galaxy arrived, each bringing their unique perspectives and histories, contributing to what was envisioned as a new era of galactic community and cooperation. The opening ceremony was a grand affair, attended by key figures from the Galactic Council, influential leaders of various races, and, of course, representatives from both human and Quran societies. President Mwangi of the United Earth Government and High Warlord Tharkel of the Quran, both hailed as architects of the peace, delivered the keynote addresses. They spoke not only of the journey that had brought them here, but also of the future they hoped to build together. President Mwangi emphasized the importance of understanding and respect in her speech. Today, we stand together not as former foes, but as pillars of a hopeful galaxy. Our unity is our strength, a testament to what is possible when diverse beings choose peace over conflict, dialogue over silence. High Warlord Tharkel, reflecting on the changed perceptions within his own race, added, "The Quran have always been warriors, but our greatest battle was against our own prejudices. Standing here, with our human allies, we declare that our greatest victories lie in the peace we build and the friendships we forge." The summit featured a series of panels and workshops focusing on various issues, including trade agreements, environmental conservation, shared technological advancements, and coordinated defense strategies against potential threats. A special session on cultural exchange highlighted the ongoing programs that had successfully integrated aspects of human and Quran culture, further cementing the social and educational ties between the two races. One of the most significant outcomes of the summit was the establishment of the Galactic Peace Network, an initiative proposed to foster communication and rapid response to any conflict or humanitarian crisis within the galaxy. The network was to be jointly managed by humans and Quran, with the participation of any other Galactic Council members who wished to join. This network symbolized a commitment to collective security and mutual aid, extending the spirit of the Human-Quran alliance across the galaxy. As the summit drew to a close, a declaration known as the Geneva Accord for Galactic Peace was unanimously adopted. The accord not only reaffirmed the commitments of various civilizations to peace and cooperation, but also laid down the legal and ethical frameworks for handling interstellar conflicts and collaborations. The event concluded with a cultural gala, where artistic performances from dozens of civilizations showcased the rich diversity of the galaxy. Music, dance, and visual arts from different worlds blended into a spectacular finale that left the attendees in awe, a vivid reminder of the beauty and potential of a united galactic community. As delegates departed, The mood was one of cautious optimism. The challenges ahead were immense, but so were the opportunities. Humanity and the Quran, once on the brink of war, now stood together as leaders in a galaxy moving toward a brighter, more inclusive future. The summit had not only celebrated their achievements, but had also set the course for a new chapter in galactic history, one where peace was the foundation of all progress. Years later, the galaxy enjoyed a period of unprecedented peace and prosperity, largely credited to the foundations laid by the Human-Quran alliance. The once frequent border skirmishes and age-old feuds between various civilizations had largely ceased, replaced by a cooperative spirit that spanned the known universe. This era was marked by remarkable advancements in technology, culture and diplomacy, all flourishing under the protective umbrella of the Galactic Peace Network. As part of the annual celebrations marking the anniversary of the Geneva Accord for Galactic Peace, educational institutions across human and Quran territories had begun a tradition known as Legacy Week. During this week, schools focused on teaching students about the historical significance of the peace between humans and the Quran, the challenges overcome, and the lessons learned. Interactive holo-programs allowed students to experience key moments in history, like the signing of the treaty or significant speeches at the Interstellar Summit. Moreover, these institutions emphasized the importance of ongoing diplomacy and the role of the younger generation in maintaining this peace. Children of both races were encouraged to participate in exchange programs, spending semesters on each other's planets. These programs were designed not only to educate them about each other's worlds, but also to instill a sense of shared destiny and mutual respect from a young age. In this period of calm, memorials had been established on both Earth and Quran prime planets. These sites were dedicated to the warriors and diplomats who had played pivotal roles in the peace process. One of the most visited was the Garden of Stars on Earth, a vast park that featured sculptures and plaques bearing the names of key figures from all civilizations that had contributed to the peace efforts. The garden was a place of reflection and education, with guided tours and interactive lectures that helped visitors understand the scale and significance of what had been achieved. The story of Tharkel and President Mwangi, now legendary figures, was particularly highlighted. Their narratives had been integrated into popular culture, with their diplomatic journey adapted into various forms of media, films, novels, and even a virtual reality experience that allowed users to participate in crucial negotiations and understand the complexities and stakes involved. Moreover, this peaceful era allowed for the flourishing of interstellar trade and the shared exploration of space. Joint human-Quran scientific missions had become the norm, with their combined efforts leading to the discovery of new life forms and habitable planets. These missions were not only scientific endeavors, but also peacekeeping ones, as they reinforced the bonds between the two races and showcased the tangible benefits of their alliance. The impact of these discoveries and the ongoing peace was profound. Economies across the galaxy thrived as new trade routes opened, and formerly isolated or war-torn systems were integrated into the galactic community. The standard of living improved universally, with technology and resources flowing freely between worlds. As this new chapter of galactic history was written, the commitment to peace and mutual respect became the defining characteristic of the era. The children of Earth and the Quran, born into a world without war, were the first generation in millennia to look to the stars, not as a battleground, but as a shared frontier of endless possibilities. The legacy of the brave, those who had dared to replace conflict with cooperation, was commemorated not just in monuments and stories, but in the everyday lives of all those who continued to benefit from their courage and vision. The peace they had fought for was now a reality, and their legacy a beacon for future generations to follow. As the years passed and the galaxy reveled in peace and mutual prosperity, the union between humans and the Quran stood as a testament to the transformative power of diplomacy and understanding. However, the vastness of space continued to hold unknowns, and a new challenge loomed on the horizon, one that would test the resilience of the alliance and the strength of the peace they had built. Deep in the uncharted territories of the outer reaches, exploratory fleets from the joint human-Quran mission encountered a mysterious anomaly. Initial scans revealed it to be a collapsing star, but further investigation suggested something far more unusual and potentially catastrophic. The anomaly was a previously unknown type of spatial rift, one that threatened to destabilize the region, creating black holes that could swallow entire systems. The discovery of this threat sparked a new kind of mobilization. The Galactic Peace Network, initially formed as a diplomatic and cultural bridge, found itself at the forefront of a scientific and military mobilization unlike any before. Scientists from numerous races, including the best minds from Earth and the Quran territories, collaborated intensely, working to understand and counteract the rift before it could become a galactic disaster. In this effort, the spirit of cooperation that had been fostered over years of peace was invaluable. The combined fleets were reconfigured for deep space operations, equipped with the latest technology developed through shared human and Quran research. These included advanced gravitational stabilizers and quantum field disruptors, experimental technologies that were hoped to counteract the effects of the rift. Commander Arya Kim, a human, and General Soran, a Quran, were appointed to lead the mission. Their leadership styles, Arya's focus on innovative tactics and Soran's unyielding determination, complemented each other perfectly, symbolizing the harmonious collaboration that had become the hallmark of their civilization's relationship. As the mission progressed, the teams faced numerous challenges. The instability of the rift meant that traditional navigation was hazardous. Spatial distortions could displace ships thousands of kilometers from their intended positions in moments. The environment was not only a physical threat, but a psychological one, as crews dealt with the isolation and tension of being on the front line of an unprecedented crisis. Throughout this ordeal, the stories of past bravery and cooperation served as a constant inspiration. The legacy of figures like Tharkel and President Mwangi reminded everyone involved of the stakes and the importance of their unity. Cultural exchanges and shared rituals between the crew members helped maintain morale, embodying the spirit of their intertwined societies. After months of relentless effort, the combined fleet executed a daring plan. Using a series of controlled quantum disruptions, they managed to stabilize the rift, preventing the collapse and the subsequent formation of black holes. The operation was a resounding success, marked by a moment of collective relief and triumph across the fleet, and broadcasted live to cheering audiences across the galaxy. The successful resolution of the rift crisis served not only as proof of the enduring strength of the Human-Quran alliance, but also as a beacon of hope for the entire galaxy. It reinforced the principle that together, united across old boundaries, and in the face of new challenges, there was no limit to what could be achieved. In the aftermath of the crisis, the bonds between the various galactic civilizations grew even stronger. The near disaster served as a reminder of the fragile nature of peace and the constant need for vigilance and cooperation. The alliance had not only survived, but had been strengthened, an enduring legacy that promised to guide the galaxy toward a future where unity was the cornerstone of all endeavors. As the galaxy looked to the stars, it did so with a renewed sense of purpose and optimism, secure in the knowledge that together they could face any challenge the universe might throw their way.